Hello, dear. It's Heather, and you're watching Save Today with Heather J. I'm somebody who has spent her entire adult life living paycheck to paycheck and being one life event away from financial crisis. Today's video is going to be a celebration of the wins that happened this month. This month has been a very challenging month, a very discouraging month in a lot of ways for me, and it has been very hard to find and focus the positive that has come out. I find for myself, and I assume that I'm not alone in this, but I find that I can get very focused on the negative and can really struggle to find the positive. And it's very important to me to search out the positive, to look for the good. And it's been hard to see that this month. So at the end of the month, I have decided to bring into my channel just kind of a recap of all of the good. The entire month is spent focusing on what I consider to be fairly negative stuff. I know there are people who find budgeting to be very enjoyable and very pleasant, and this playing with the numbers is something that they really enjoy. I never have enjoyed it, although, numbers on paper are easy. It's the sticking to the budget and finding money for the fun stuff that has been hard for me. So I need to have something that focuses on the good in order to continue working on the hard stuff. So I've decided at the end of the month, I'm going to just have a video that focuses on that. Again, if you've watched any of my more recent videos, you will have seen that I had a lot of things come up this month that I found to be extremely challenging and very discouraging. And it's easy for me to focus on all of that negativity. I can't move into the next month and the month after that and the month after that if I'm feeling that heavy weight all the time. So today we're going to go back and see what happened in the month of June. That was good, because there was some good. There's always going to be some good. Sometimes it might be this teeny tiny amount, and sometimes it might be gigantic. I really want to get to the point where we're at the gigantic stuff, but I have to celebrate even these teeny tiny wins. And I hope in your own life you are able to find a way to find those wins and to celebrate them and to enjoy them. So that's where we're going to go today. I'm going to discuss the good things that happened in my budget, and the good things that happened with this YouTube channel, and the good things that happened with the craft project I'm working on. So if you like the positive tilt I'm trying to put on the channel, if you like the craft that I'm bringing into my channel, if you just like budgeting and are somebody who lives paycheck to paycheck and struggles and wants to have somebody else who is sharing your journey, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe and see where we go. So today, let's look at what good happened. I'm talking a lot and I'm kind of talking around it because it was hard for me to find. I had to really dig deep and search for that. So bear with me. I did get one credit card completely paid off. I thought it was my last credit card. You will have seen that another one, the one I thought was already paid off, is not, but I've got that one credit card paid off. And that is a celebration for me. That is something I've been working on since October or November. That's something that became a bad debt well over a year ago, and it's done. And it's out of my pocketbook. It's off my shoulders. It is complete. And that's great. It's done. I did not ever have to make an adjustment to that payment arrangement, and it's out of my hair. It's out of my pocketbook. It's out of my bank account. It is done. I'm so glad that that is done. Also, those of you who have been following me know that All of my possessions are in storage in U-Haul boxes on the other side of the country. I was waiting for my tax checks to show up in the mail so that I had the extra funds to get that done. And as of last night, all of my tax checks are here in my hand, ready for me to deposit into the account and call the movers and have that come. That is huge. And I'm so glad that that happened in June. Initially, it was my hope that I would also have my products shipped to me in June, and that just didn't happen. But now I have the funds. I get to then deposit that into my account and arrange for that shipping to happen. So that's done. It's all here. It's no longer a waiting game. It's no longer a guessing game. I have it in my hand and we're ready to move forward on that. And that is a huge weight off of my shoulder. You may recall, if you watched that video, you may recall that I had one tax check that was from 2021 that had the potential to have a large COVID related payment on it. I did not in fact receive that. But now I know exactly what I'm working with, and it's not a guessing game, and there's no stress about what if. It's here. So that is phenomenal and huge. I came home last night and the very last check for $60 was in the mailbox ready for me. So all done. Here it is. And I absolutely did not put any of those checks in the bank account until I have all of them in my hand so that I can know that it is only going to the U-Haul and I don't accidentally spend it on dining out or going to the Joann's and getting some fabric or, you know, whatever, all those little things where it's, oh, it's just $20. Oh, it's just, I'll cover that. That doesn't happen. And I knew that about myself and I saved it. And I'm so happy that even when things were as challenging as they've been, that I was able to hang on to that and I have it all and I'm ready to move forward. And that is huge. I'm so grateful that's all here together. What else happened this month? Well, I'm not going to dwell on it a whole lot in this video, but I did have, you know, I say in all of my videos, one life event away from financial crisis. I was hit very quickly with two large life events that we weren't expecting when I set my June budget up. And because of my budgeting in May, because of my budgeting in June, because I have it all kind of mapped out generally, I was able to find where I could pull that money out of my current budget and where it's going to come back into my budget. And if I had not been doing this budgeting and being so careful with my money and watching where it was coming and going, I would not have been able to respond to that. I would not have been able to find any way to fix that. So thank goodness I'm working this journey and was able to find that. It definitely took a lot of coming and looking and moving, taking a break and coming back and taking a break, but I was able to find and fix and adjust and adapt and prevent actual crisis when this life event happened. So that is fantastic. If this had happened even 2 months ago, likely all of those tax monies would have been spent on these other events, and then I would no longer know when I'm going to get my stuff, and I would still be paying a monthly fee to store my things. So thank goodness for that. That was a wonderful positive this month. What else has been a good thing this month? As I'm going over my budget and where I was positive and where I was negative, it does appear that I have a very strong grasp of what my transportation costs are. That has been very consistent and very fluid. There hasn't been a lot of adjustment there. So that's a good positive that I don't have to continue to adjust that as much as some of the other areas. It's I'm able to give more brain power in my budgeting to some of those areas that need a little bit more focus. So that's good. Another positive was just some of the knowledge I learned in regards to the art portion of my budget. You may recall in May, I spent a lot related to my art, and in June, I spent very little in my art. And what I learned and why it's positive in here is that I learned that I don't need X amount consistently. I did learn that I need to adjust up and down based on the project at hand. And that's good information to carry me forward as I am writing budgets that are a little bit more tight. I know that I can choose a project, and trust me, there's probably 50 projects to choose from at this point because this is a thing I do. I know I can choose a project that I have more of the supplies for, or all of the supplies for, and I know that those projects that I haven't yet accumulated all of those things, those need to wait for another month. And so that's great knowledge to use moving forward, and that was a positive for that. Another positive, which is kind of a random weird positive, but I made tamales for the first time this month. I gathered up all of the supplies I'm going to need for that, and when I say gathered up, I bought a pan, a tamale pot. I bought all of the ingredients, and I made my first attempt. Well, why is that a great thing? It's a great thing. It's a positive for several reasons. One being, I hate to cook. I really enjoy going out to eat. And as this has been a battle, probably every single one of my videos, it's a battle I fight with myself. So if I'm going to be eating out less, dining out less, I need to learn how to make the things that I gravitate towards going out. I really enjoy Mexican food, but I do not know how to cook Mexican food. And the things that I enjoy tend to be the labor-intensive things: tamales, enchiladas, fajitas. And there's not just knowing the right seasonings and flavorings and, you know, how to marinate the meat or cook it, and how to put all of that together. So that's huge. Tamales are very labor intensive, and that seasoning and flavoring is very unique. I can't just take, you know, ground taco meat and stuff it into the corn husk. Like and that's great. It didn't, obviously it was my first attempt. It didn't turn out amazing. I'm not going to sell that at a restaurant ever, and be making any kind of money on that, but it did it. And I can continue to build on that. So that was great for me. What else? Oh, I did get a very small raise in my budget, an 85-cent raise. They did the yearly reviews, I don't know, maybe February or March, a fairly long time ago. And then it took ages for the actual the pennies to end up on the account in my paycheck. But it finally showed up. It's 85 cents an hour. I wish it was more. I'm grateful it's not less. That does tend to be about an extra $100 a month, give or take, with taxes and depending on how many hours I do. And, you know, it's only a small amount, but it's more. It's more than I had. You know, if it's $20 more, if it's $200 more, I'm so grateful that that little bit of extra gets to come into my budget. That's a little bit extra groceries. That's a little bit extra fun money. That's a little bit of extra bills. Like, it's extra money that gets to help me out. So that was good. And that's kind of all my brain could find positive budgeting wise. Again, it was kind of a struggle because I'm so focused on the challenges that came up this month. But I'm going to take those wins and I'm going to run with them, because I could have tanked everything based on those life events that happened. And in the past, that's probably what would have happened. Just knowing my style of dealing with stress and dealing with money. And, you know, I'm very much that ostrich who puts her head in the sand. I have quite literally said out loud in the past, I just want to go to sleep and wake up when this is all over. Avoidance is a very comfortable situation for me, much more comfortable than fighting my way out of the situation. So, you know, I'm going to take those wins because they set me that little step more forward and that little step more forward. And I didn't take 15 steps back. I still stayed a little bit forward. I'm going to take it, you guys. That's huge. That's great. I have one credit card paid off, and thank goodness that credit card was paid off before I received the 2 bills that came at me this month. And remember when I set up this, my budgeting, I told you, I'm the kind of person who I don't have the money to pay it. So when the bill comes, it gets tossed to the side. I don't make an arrangement in my budget for it. I don't even let that take up space in my mind. So in May, 2 things came in and I was like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. And I just added it to my debts, on my debts and desires video, and kind of have a rough plan of when that's going to get paid off. In my head, there's a rough plan. But when those 2 showed up in June, I was so discouraged. But I didn't avoid them. I didn't ignore them. I immediately got them in my debts column and made an arrangement and a plan and got that taken care of. And that's huge for me. For some of you guys, it's like, okay, you should have figured that out 3 years ago, but I didn't. I got it now. And that's great. It's huge and it's now. And I'm going to continue moving forward, one microscopic little step at a time. So that's great. The next thing I like to go over the positives is my positives that happened within my YouTube channel. This portion may not stay in these videos, but I do intend to keep these videos at the end of every month. I think it's important to me. I think it's important to you. I think positivity needs to be a focus every once in a while. But some of these things are a little bit harder for me to track on my YouTube stats as far as that goes. And I also feel like it's a very kind of niche market. This is something that I want to know, but not necessarily the people who are watching my channel want to know. And these are just the positive things that came YouTube wise in this month. So in this month, I now have 27 videos, 11 were from May and 16 videos from this month. So that's just a matter of, for me, the consistency and putting those out kind of on time, on schedule, in order. There were definitely times this month where I didn't want to have to create the video. Not because I didn't want to talk to you guys, but because I was very deep in the struggle. And I would have, if I didn't have the channel, I would have ignored it. I had the channel, I had to follow through, and I worked on it, and I got all of those videos out, and every video came out kind of on time. I don't really have a time, but in the right order. And I got another 27 videos this month. So that's great. I think that's good. I'm continuing to focus on the budget, and that's showing by continuing to post on the channel. I now have a total of 104 subscribers. Which is 43 new subscribers that I received in the month of June, which is great. That's huge for me. To see that number continue to climb. I don't know how to express what that means. And it's a weird thing that it means anything at all. You know, I see lots of YouTubers who have very successful channels and who have very large followings and who have very engaging personalities. So of course they do. I don't consider myself to be a successful YouTuber. I don't consider myself to have a particularly engaging personality. And I'm not certain why anyone would want to join me in this journey. I know why there's lots of us who are out there taking this journey, but the fact that you're choosing to join me in this journey is still very exciting to me and very, I don't even have the words. Like, I'm in my brain trying to find the right words to express that. But the fact that you guys are here, that you guys have subscribed, is a very much a positive for me, and helps encourage me and helps move me forward. So again, thank you for being here. This month, as of the end of this month, as of this morning, I have 2,079 views on my videos, which is 796 more in June than I had in May. And so that's great. We're still moving forward. And honestly, if I only had one more view this month, I would still keep doing this, at least for a couple of years, I think, because I need it. I need it to keep myself motivated. And the fact that you're here helps keep me motivated. I need this, and I'm glad you're here. I did have 49 comments. The comments, YouTube doesn't keep track of for me. I had to kind of go back and count those. But the comments are huge for me. I get those. They motivate me. I want to respond to them. And those of you who have commented will see that I, write novels back. I'm very verbose. I'm verbose on camera. I'm verbose on the written word. But I appreciate them. I engage with them. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days to get back to you just because of what's going on, work and home and shopping and groceries and living life. But it's not because I don't care about that comment. It's because I want to be able to be in a position where I can give my full attention to that comment and give a full response to that comment. So you're going to get paragraphs when I make a comment, because I want to be attentive in there, and that's just kind of my style and who I am. And so I thank you for that. If and when I ever get to the point where I'm no longer mentioning how many comments I'm getting, it's not because I don't care. It's because YouTube doesn't track that easily for me, and at a certain point it's going to get hard to count how many there are. That's just the nature of continuing to get some more. If I only ever got one or two more, then it would be easy to know it's one or two more. The other thing as far as those comments go is I'm starting to notice some repeat commenters. I have some people that are very invested in this and very engaged in this, and I'm getting to where I recognize those names, and there's a lot of back and forth, and that's fantastic to be able to reach out and have somebody who I have things in common with is great. And it's not something that I'm going to have just kind of in my normal life in this genre. I mean, the people I work with don't care about what my budgeting is. They have their own budgeting woes, right? And they're different. We're all in different points, and we're at work. We're not talking about these things. So having somebody who's on this journey with me, both positive and negative, encouragement and suggestions on where things can go. I'll hear those, and some of them I will follow that encouragement, and some I will go, well, that's interesting, and I thank you for your input, but that's not the direction I'm going to go. That doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean don't give me that information. But I appreciate, and it's great to see repeat names. I'm somebody who doesn't remember names in my normal everyday life, but I do better with the written word. So anyway, that's great. I'm glad that there are people who are coming back and are, I don't know about committed. That's probably the wrong word, but you're in it and you're here, and I appreciate and I see you. As far as moving forward, there are a couple of things I'd like to really focus on in July in regards to my YouTube channel. And one is I want to figure out how to set up playlists. I want to be able to do a playlist for May and a playlist for June and a playlist for July where all of those videos are in. But I also kind of want to do a playlist that has, just the monthly setup and close out, just one that has just the debts, so that we can watch that. So I don't know how to do that yet. So that's something I want to kind of make a concerted effort with, kind of behind the scenes in July, and we'll see if I can get that done. The other thing I really want to learn is how to do some editing here. And right now I'm just using the YouTube app and the YouTube Studio app, where it's free. I haven't yet paid for any kind of editing software type programs, but I would like to be able to learn how to edit and mostly pull out some of my dead air times when I'm sitting here searching for the right word and I'm struggling and I'm not saying anything. I want to be able to kind of shorten my videos by cutting some of that out. So we'll see if I can't make that happen in July. But that's the positives in regards to my YouTube channel. And then as far as my project, because there's always the project, I always discuss that at the end. You guys who've been watching already know this project is complete. It has been complete. It is ready to go in the mail to my granddaughter. And sorry, there goes the train. I really wish that I knew when they were coming so I could work around that, but I don't. So as far as the project goes, it's done. I'm very satisfied with the pom-pom trim. I'm satisfied with the zipper. I'm satisfied with the cover. I'm surprised that the fabric I liked the least in the beginning is the side of the pillow I like the most as a complete project. I did use the majority of the extra fabric to make a blanket, a very small blanket. And then I made some doll blankets with the excess. I have decided to not make pillows with the little bit of scraps that are left. I have not yet offered that to the grandkids to make their own doll clothes, mostly because my work time hasn't coincided with them being here and having available craft time. I don't want to put that out there and have that be something they want to do immediately, but now it's bedtime. So if they decide they don't want to, or if they use only 1 or 2 pieces, I have decided I need to just let that go and allow that to be garbage, or at the very least not continue to force myself to work on it just because it's projects. I had considered turning some, making some little doll pillows, and it's fine. I need to just be okay with the fact that I didn't use every last ounce of that fabric. But this is done. The granddaughter who this was for is not in the state I'm in right now, and so I would be able to get this mailed out to her, and this gets to be a birthday present for her. She does not yet know it's done. She does not yet know it's coming, and so she'll get the pillow and the blanket, and she'll probably get 2 of the doll blankets, and then the other 2 doll blankets will stay here with the grandkids who are here, and they can use those scraps or not as they want. So that is it as far as this project goes. I feel like I've kind of already said everything that needs to be said about this. This project was more challenging than it needed to be and took far too long. Even I know that. And of course, my granddaughter is like, where's this been for years? The pom-pom trim is really the thing that kicked my tail. And then the zipper. But this pom-pom trim, I have a feeling that I'm going to need to learn the same lessons over and over and over again with the pom-pom trim. Because I made that same mistake several times 2 years ago when I initially started working on it, and several times now when I started working on it. And I have a feeling, because my next project obviously is not going to have pom-poms, it's probably going to be another year or 2 before I use pom-pom trim, and I'm going to need to learn it all over again. So I honestly should force myself to use pom-pom trim so that that lesson really sticks in there. But that is it. That's it for my video. Lots of positives that did come out of this month. I just had to really search hard to find them. I am so glad that June is done. I am so glad that I get to move into July. Hopefully July is a little bit smoother. There's definitely challenges within that month as well, but I'm fingers crossed that none of those life events come and slap me in the noggin, and I can just get through with what I have on my plate now. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and visiting with me today. And wherever you are and whatever it is you're doing, please have some fun. Bye-bye now.